Hello there, and thanks for joining me once again at my bench. And today's tutorial, I'm going to tie you up a dry fly this time. And it's a version of the herl coachman, a very popular old classic fly, which is tied in the standard dry version, wet fly version, and I'm going to tie it in the trude version, for the trude style dry fly. I thought you might like to see this one put together, so I'll get this guy out of the vise here, a fresh hook in, and we'll get started. And the hook I'm using is a mustad 9671 in a size 12. We'll get him locked in the vise here. And for starters, we're going to use some danville 6/0 black. And we want to start our thread this time about 3 eye lengths behind, because that gives us lots of room to tie in our wing and our hackle up front. So we'll get a base going back here. And we'll stop about to the right in front of the barb here. Alright, we'll snip that off. Alright, now I just want to come back a ways yet to right in front of the barb. Okay. Tail, like on all the coachmans, herl coachmans, is golden pheasant tippets, so I'll snip out a small amount here for the tail. Alrighty. And we'll measure that up to about the length of the shank. And we'll tie that in on top here. Nice, good snug pinch wrap. And we'll come back a couple more wraps. Alright, and that places our tail right where we want it there. Okay, then we'll wrap the excess forward. And we'll stop there. Okay. Alrighty, next is the body. And of course, as we know, the body is peacock herl, so just going to grab 4 strands here. Usually 4 strands will do it, 4 or 5. Okay. I'll line those tips up there and trim off the brittle ends there. We don't want those. Alrighty, so I'm going to tie these in, catch them in on my side of the hook shank here. And wrap back towards in front of the tail, but just before I get to that point, I'm going to take my finger and make a loop, and then wrap back to in front of our tail there. Okay, then we'll go forward to where we want to tie off the body. Now, I always like to make peacock ropes when I'm working with herl. It just makes sense to me. It makes it a much more durable body on the fly. So we'll give that a twist, and before I start wrapping, take a little bit of cement here, a little bit of glue, go across that shank there. Alright, on the first few wraps I'm going to use the rotary function just to get ahead of that hook point. Alright, just like so. Okie dokie. Now give that a good twist so your rope's nice and tight, and then just continue wrapping forward, just like so. And usually you have to give it about 2 twists before you get to the tie off point, I find, just to keep the rope nice and tight. Alright, 1 more wrap should do the trick. Now we'll come in behind that and over the top and wrap back. Do that 1 more time to tie it off. Okie dokie. And we'll snip that nice and close. Alright, a couple more securing wraps. Now I'm going to make a little thread base here. I just want some thread laid down before I tie the wing in. But before we get there, before I get ahead of myself, I'm going to finish this black thread off with 2 or 3 turns first. And I'll snip that off. Yeah, we'll get back to that in a sec. Now for the center section on the coachman, generally you see red floss used, but I've been doing mine for a long time now just by using some red thread. So I have some UTC 70 in red, and I'll place that right down about the center here, and just start on as you would if you were starting a fly. And I'll make a couple more wraps before I snip that out, and snip out the tag end of red thread. Now this is personal preference as far as the red band goes. You could leave it narrow like that, you can make it wider in between. For me, I like it somewhere in the middle, like not too narrow and not too wide. I don't want it to take up all the body. So we'll just wrap that. That looks pretty good there. Okay, so now we're going to make a whip finish to whip finish that red thread off. So I'll grab my whip finisher again here, and we'll make 3 or 4 wraps here to finish that guy off. Okay, and we'll come in and whip finish him off. Snug it down nice and tight, and snip off your excess here, nice and close. And there you have your red band there for the coachman, just like that. It's a very simple technique to accomplish that. Easier than dealing with floss, but if you want to stick with the original, floss is okay if you want to use floss. Alrighty, so now we'll just attach our black thread back on once again here, just as if we were starting to fly again. Snip off our tag end. Okay, now we're ready to attach our wing. And for the wing, I'm using some calf body hair. Generally, people like to use the calf tail, but I find that it doesn't stack very well. A lot of times you get it's quite crinkly and hard to manage, so I generally use the calf body hair if I have some. So I'll get this out of the stacker here. Alright, I can see this bunch I have a few cut off ends, but that's okay. It doesn't affect the fly. I don't think the trout are going to worry about that too much. Now I'm going to measure this wing here to come back about halfway or a little more on the tail. And just cut them butt ends even off there. Okay. Now before I attach my wing, I also like to take some more head cement. And I always put a little drop right in the butt ends of the calf tail, like so. Just before I place that on top and catch it in, tie it in. Alrighty, so we'll come down and catch that in on top. And what that glue does, once you get your wing tied in and that dries solid, you got a much more durable wing as far as it staying in place. Now you may have a few fibers that never got tied in, just pull them out. Alright, now make a nice base for our hackle here, nice and smooth with the thread here. Just like so. So there we have it. There's our wing. Body's in and our center red section's done. So all we got left is our hackle. So I have a saddle hackle here, dry fly saddle hackle, and I measured it for a size 12. And as always, I got a little bit of the fibers on one side stripped off, the side that's going to be wrapped down around first. And we'll tie that in right in front of our wing here. Just like so. Then we're going to come up and go over top of that hackle stem there up towards the eye. Snip him out. And we'll rest our thread right behind our hook eye there. Alright, just got a little bit of glue there around the eye. I'm just going to pick that out. There we go. Alrighty folks, so now it's time to wrap. So this is quite a long hackle. I don't think I need the hackle pliers, but I may before I'm done. So we'll just come down around, make our first wrap right in front of our wing like so. There we go. And we're just going to proceed to wrap forward here. And we'll just keep our wraps nice and close together as you go. Okay. Just like so. Alrighty. It's looking pretty good, folks. One more wrap I think is plenty for this guy. Alright, I'm going to come up around, tie him off. Sneak a couple wraps around that hackle tip. And keep good tension on your thread as you're doing that. The key is always keep good thread tension. That's one thing you always want to keep in mind as you're tying. Okay, and we'll snip off the tip there, just like so. And a couple of fibers there. Okay. And secure that down with a couple more wraps. And there we have it, folks. There's the hackle done. That section there is done. So we're pretty much finished. Just bring my whip finisher in once again, and we'll do a 5 or 6 turn whip finish on them. Just like so. It's a very hot, humid day here today, and everything seems to be sticking to me, but just bear with me. Okay, there we go. Snug that down. I'll come in and snip off the excess. And there she be. Another size 12 Royal Coachman trude. And I did catch one fiber in there that'll snip out. There we go. So, one last step is to put some headspin on this guy, and he's a done deal. Or you can use UV resin, whichever you wish. Just let that soak in good there. There we go. Okay, so there she be. Just get the top on this glue before it hardens up on me. So that's the Royal Coachman trude, everyone. And as you know, the Royal Coachman's been a good fly for a long time. It's a really good attractor pattern. And I thought you might like to see it tied up in this style, the trude style. And there's a lot of other different dry flies that you can tie this way, tie them the trude style. So, anyways, until next time, everyone. Like always, I want to thank you very much for watching my videos, and if you'd like to subscribe, hit the good old subscribe button there. Appreciate it a great deal. And throw in a like too if you wish, and any comments that you'd like to put out, just put them down in the comments there. I'd surely read everyone that you put down there. I always read them, and I'll answer back the best I can. So, until next time, everyone, happy tying out there. I shall see you all again soon, and so long for now, folks.